kind of suggested it. That's a good thing. I don't want to just sit here, everything's bad, nothing's good, America's dead. I don't believe it, by the way. America is changing. America will change. Everything changes. Nothing remains the same. I get that. We're going through a huge social upheaval because of the demon in the White House. The least of our problems are the Hispanics, by the way. Do you know that the number one group of immigrants that he's bringing into this country are from China? Did you know that? That's also not a bad thing when you think about it. For a number of reasons. They're industrious, they're hardworking, they're very intelligent. They don't believe that if they perform jihad on this planet, they're going to get 72 sturgeons in the next world. The Asians don't believe in 72 sturgeons in heaven. No, sir. And they eat pork. That's almost an impossibility to convert them. So that's a good thing.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Elevating a woman on a pedestal, loving the woman, seeing her in an idealistic manner. Take a look at what's happened today. Look at the lyrics and the music today coming out of that culture. And tell me things have gotten better. Go ahead. I'll turn it off already. No one cares. But there is a penguin in the album cover of the Penguins. 3 bonus tracks, the Penguins, and there is a penguin in the on the record label. Someone noticed a penguin when I did the show yesterday, the web show. In the back of my studio here, where I broadcast from, I have a cabinet, and there's like a little penguin in there. So I didn't even know there was a penguin card. And someone saw the penguin. Then they saw my assistant walking around with a phone in the picture frame. It looked like 1950s Spanish television. You know, I used to love TV in the 50s. Am I allowed to talk? Can I just talk instead of doing politics for a minute? I'm all over the map today, and I will get to the White Elephant Dream. Way back in the 50s, there were, the early days of television, there was a Spanish language television show, El Perucho show in New York City. No one remembers this. And it was on one of the weird upper channels. In those days, there were 4 channels. There was 2, 4, 5. And if you're really an intellectual, you watched 9 or something like that. This was somewhere in the upper reaches, a little television station in New Jersey. And it was called the El Perucho Show. So my friend and I, we were 9, 10 years old. We used to look forward to it every Saturday night because it was so amateurish. Sets would fall over. You talk about what happens when a costume break open. What do they call that today? Where something falls out from a woman. Costume, what is it called, Robert? When they perform and a suit breaks or the woman's wardrobe malfunction. It went on all the time. We used to watch it for the wardrobe malfunctioning. We hoped there was a wardrobe malfunction. We'd sit up laughing hysterically, watching sets fall over. You'd see a guy with a boom microphone coming over the top. That was fun. That was fun television. Everything's so professional now. It's so sanitized, homogenized. That sometimes I wish that we have a little more amateur hour. It'd be fun. 855-407-282. You could see that I'm not really focused on the news. I've had it enough already. Pamela Geller, tomorrow she'll be forgotten. She had her 14 minutes of fame. That's all. There's only 2 dead from this experience. All right, so she did it. That's all. She wanted to show what's under the surface of the Islamic community. So she showed it. Now she's a star now. Martha Washington can't get enough of her. Martha Washington cannot get enough of Pamela Geller. Isn't that amazing? My new novel, Countdown to Mecca, I guarantee you will be a very big seller. It's a great book. Washington won't touch it. Because the Rush Cartel and the Murdoch Cartel are one and the same, and they don't want me. I mean, I'm persona non grata in that cartel. Savage on the Alex Jones show. So I'm only accepted by a few outsiders. Alex Jones. You'll see the promotion is very minimal, except for this show. What's the difference? What's the difference? At the end of the day, does it really matter? I want some rock and roll, more Friday doo-wop before I talk a little more. I have a good one here that I want to play. I don't know which one. Do I want to hear Lee Andrews, the Teardrops, Lee Andrew, Long Lonely Nights, Johnny and Joe, Over the Mountain, Frankie Lyman, I Want You to Be My Girl, The Treasure. I want to hear Clyde McFadden, The Treasure of Love. A Nielsen report. I'm not allowed to give ratings. In fact, if you even say Nielsen, you'd get fired. But this is a generic statement. Radio reaches 242 million listeners a week. Could you believe that? The number one format of radio is country music. Number two is news talk. And Mexican regional is number 13. So I remember all of the radio people, they were going to do Spanish language. They all flopped. By and large, they flopped. This is still number one next to country. In English, by the way. I'm nothing against Spanish. I studied it for 7 years. I couldn't relate to the language. I could relate to French because I like the literature better. The Spanish literature that I was forced to read, like Don Quixote, I didn't really get it. Tilting at windmills. I never understood that. It's a great metaphor, but so what? Then what? Then there were a few communist writers from Chile. Like, I'm supposed to read them? Okay, great. That's 1,000 years. I love that was big in the year. Carlos Lorca. Big deal. Big deal. What do you want to talk about? You want to hear my dream? Am I ready for the dream yet? Let me have another sip of that energy drink. Okay, so here's the dream. I have to do it in a family-oriented way. Now, remember, in advance, I am not responsible for my subconscious. I am responsible for my consciousness and my conscious mind, and I have control over that. I really don't have any control over my subconscious. I can top load my subconscious by what I watch and what I listen to. That's absolutely true. That is true. So I watch movies that are violent, my subconscious is affected. If I watch vivid lights flashing, that would affect my subconscious, etc. You know that. How I eat will affect my subconscious, what vitamins I take. So in that regard, we can alter or let's say direct our subconscious. I also happen to know, this is a prelude, by the way, to the dream. You may not know this. Many people don't remember their dreams. I remember all of them, almost all of them, because I've trained myself on dream analysis since I'm about 18 years old. In fact, at the family table, when the kids were growing up, I'd ask them what their dreams were the night before, because I learned that from Native Americans. They were very deeply into dream analysis because they believed that there was more than one world, a conscious world, and so do I. So nevertheless, I had a dream last night, and I'll put it in, I'm going to make it as vivid as I can without being vulgar, but this was the dream. It was a white elephant that was blindfolded. Not blind. It was blindfolded. It had a large blindfold over its eyes. And it couldn't get the blindfold off, and the elephant was just walking around, trampling around, sort of randomly, didn't know where it was going. What does that sound like to you? Along comes a donkey. Again, metaphorically, we know what that is. And as the elephant relieved himself, the donkey consumed the elephant dung. It was more vivid than that in my dream. That's as far as I can go. I'm not making this up. So I woke up and I said, what the heck was that dream? Well, it's really clear what it is. The blindfolded elephant is the Republican Party. The dung-eating animal, whatever that was, the donkey, is the Democrat Party. They're recycling each other's garbage. Remember I told you that the way the game is played in this monopoly of ours, this dictatorship of ours, this benign dictatorship, which is not so benign anymore, is that it's 8 years Democrat, 8 years Republican, 8 years Democrat, 8 years Republican. In other words, on a larger scale, it's the equivalent of what Baltimore has in the street gangs of the Crips and the Bloods. The Democrats and Republicans are two gangs. And the way they play the game is one takes control and rips off the Treasury more than the other. The other screams for 8 years, how dare you do this? Why the American people deserve more, you son of a gun. And then toward the end of the reign of the 8 years of the Repubs, you hear the Dems are going to save us. That was Obama, right? He saved us. Oh, yeah, he saved us. Now that his reign is coming near an end, not soon enough for me, here we have the contenders, pretenders out there saying, why, when we get rid of these liberal Democrats, socialists, we're going to save America. God bless America. Da, 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 da. Here comes the red, here comes the white, here comes the blue. And then we'll have them again doing that to us, because you wake up and there's a trade deal now, and there's Obama trying to push a secret trade deal with Asia, and there's McConnell, who's on Obama's side, shafting the worker and the factory owner. And opposing it are some liberal Democrats who say it's a job killer. And they're 100% right. So you see the dream, right? Now, I have to paint the blindfolded white elephant at some point. My rendition of the white owl was pretty good. That was a little more obscure than this dream of the white elephant. But this one was a clear one. It's as simple as that. I can't ask you to call me on that. What can you say about my dream? Why did I even tell you the dream? Because it's very political, or else I wouldn't have bothered. Do we have an elephant sound? Can you dig up an elephant sound out of the Encyclopedia of Sound? That's what I love about radio, is the sound effects. Because when I grew up, I loved seeing how I went behind the scenes at Radio City Music Hall, and when my mother, God bless her soul, took me and my friend Alan to the NBC building, and they took us behind the scenes, and they showed us how radio is done. It was magical. Like when they shook a large, thin piece of metal, it sounded like thunder, and I sat there awestruck. And he said, boys and girls, here's how we make the sound of horses' hooves. And he had two little things that he clapped like a horse on a thing. I was amazed that you could create sound like that and make it sound so real on the radio. I was hooked forever because I grew up in radio. I'm one of the lucky ones, which is why I have a natural talent for this business. And you know it. I mean, that's why you listen to the show. Savage on the Garland shooting. There's a link between the White House and ISIS. That was the headline. You want to get political? Go ahead. Here's my other headline. Fanatical Muslims try to kill scores, shot dead by hero cop. Get my headline. I could always do that. Here's another one of my headlines. Even readers against Obama's trade treason, number 3. That's all. Those are my headlines. What would you like to talk about? 855-400-7282 is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now. 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust to protect my wealth with gold and silver. Call 800-BUYCOIN. On the bell. Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Such an obscure song from Louis Prima. Crazy singer, crazy guy. Long gone, long gone. He's in heaven with the sturgeons. He may have actually gotten sturgeons in heaven. I don't know. Louis Prima was an American singer, actor, songwriter, and trumpeter. Big, big hit in his days, but dead, gone. Died in 1978. When was he born? I always do the math now. I see when they died, and I go back to the birth, and I do the addition and see like how long you're going to live. You ever do that now? I've been doing it since I'm 10. Inventors, I would see, like he invented the trumpet, and he lived from 1701 to 1711. He was 10 years old when he died. You ever see stuff like that? How could he have died at 10 if he invented the trumpet? No, I'm saying like he died 18. In those days, they didn't live long. They didn't have Prozac, and they didn't have sturgeon on bagels to keep them alive. And there was no Obamacare. They just died of the plague. What do you want to talk? I can't get into the whole political again. I can't do it. My heart's not in it. I gave you all the politics I can do for a while, for now. You know, I'm serious. I feel like I'm overcoming a mental illness dealing with politics. You got to be crazy to do this day and night. Yet I do it day and night. And I'm not a crazy... Unbelievable to me. You want me to do a little bit? All right, play clip 1. Here's a little bit of it right now if you really want politics. Go ahead. There are those within the administration who go back to the 60s in mentality. Bring it all down, man. You know, then let's rebuild it in our own image. That's the communist view, the left-wing university view. Wreck it. Screw the patriarchy. Bring down the white man. You'll have paradise. That's one view. The other view is a bunch of morons who are college girls who know nothing, on drugs, raised on Adderall, parents who are psychotic. I can name 3 of them. Most of them speak for the Obama administration. One of them is the stupidest girl I've ever seen in my life. I call them Obama's sorority. They don't know what world they live in. They live in a sheltered bubble, and they think that they know the world. They know nothing. Oh, it's finished? That was from yesterday's appearance on The Jones Show. On the spot, 45 seconds of brilliance. And that was not scripted. See, that's the difference. You think you can do 3 hours of radio a day without a script. Try it. I'm gifted, and I'm lucky that I have the ability to think on my feet and to express it all at once. But how long can this go on? I mean, I wake up with allergies like today. I couldn't believe what it does to my brain. Allergies are a disease, by the way. It's an illness, a real one. What it is the